In the early 1980s, America was panicking. A strange and deadly disease was spreading, mysterious, lethal, and misunderstood. The news called it the gay cancer, and soon after, scientists gave it a name: AIDS. But as the CDC searched for answers, they didn't just name the virus, they named the people. In 1983, the Centers for Disease Control listed what they called the 4 H's, the 4 groups most at risk of AIDS: homosexuals, hemophiliacs, heroin users, and Haitians. Yes, Haitians. No science, no proof, no mercy. Just racism, ignorance, and a scapegoat. In Miami, Little Haiti shops closed down as customers vanished. In New York, Haitian nurses were suddenly reassigned or fired. Cab drivers refused Haitian passengers. Kids were bullied in schools. Go back to your country with your disease, they were told. Lucien Pierre, a Haitian immigrant who had built his diner in Brooklyn with his bare hands, watched customers walk away one by one. The open sign in his window became meaningless. He wasn't sick. He wasn't even sure what AIDS was. But no one cared. His diner, once filled with laughter and smell of griot and banan pezi, was now empty. And Marie-Laure, a Haitian nurse in the Bronx who had been caring for patients for years, found herself accused of carrying the very disease she treated. "Don't touch me," a doctor told her one morning. "We don't want your kind spreading anything." She quit that day, tears filling her eyes, her heart boiling with shame and fury. Even inside their own communities, silence spread like fog. Families whispered about cousins who were sick. Churches hesitated to speak out. Haitians were proud, private, and hard-working, but now they were humiliated, criminalized. There was a deep fear of losing jobs, of being deported, of being seen as diseased. But some refused to be silent. That's where Jean-Robert Lafortune, Raymond Joseph, and a small but growing group of Haitian activists stepped in. They began to fight, to speak, to write, to organize. They reached out to newspapers. They confronted the CDC. They demanded justice. They said, "We are not the virus, we are victims of a lie." In March 1990, the US government made it worse. They banned Haitians from donating blood. Just Haitians, no matter your medical history, no matter how long you'd lived in America. If you were Haitian, your blood was unwelcome. That was it. The final insult. The community snapped. Anger turned into movement. Wounds became fire. Brooklyn buzzed with meetings in basements, flyers handed out in Creole and English. Churches opened their doors to resistance. Teachers, students, nurses, cab drivers all agreed to tell them, "Sac passe," enough was enough. On April 20th, 1990, tens of thousands of Haitians, young and old, men and women, undocumented and citizen alike, took to the streets of New York City, waving Haitian flags, holding signs that read, "We are human beings. Being Haitian is not a disease. Our blood is pure." They marched from Flatbush to the steps of Brooklyn Bridge, locking arms in silence and power. Reporters tried to twist the story, but the unity was undeniable. One protester, a young man named David St. Louis, stood at the front, his voice shaking with emotion. "My uncle died last year. Not from AIDS, from being denied care because he was Haitian. From shame, from fear. We are not your scapegoats. We built your hospitals, we clean your streets, we raise your children, and we bleed red like everyone else." When they reached the Brooklyn Bridge, they sat down and blocked traffic for hours. Taxis honked, helicopters hovered, but they did not move. It was a protest born out of desperation, pain, and the refusal to be erased. That day, we didn't just cross the Brooklyn Bridge, we shook its bones. From Flatbush to downtown, a wave of black, Creole-speaking bodies surged like fire through the city. Mothers with their babies strapped to their backs, grandfathers gripping weathered flags, youth chanting with the fury of generations silenced. We came not with weapons, but with truth. Not with violence, but with the righteous rage of a people wrongly blamed and mercilessly labeled. As we reached the bridge, the ground itself seemed to groan beneath our steps. It wasn't just a protest, it was a reckoning. The sheer force of our presence, tens of thousands of Haitians, united, struck fear into the hearts of those who had thought we would stay silent, ashamed, invisible. The NYPD lined up like soldiers, barricades drawn, batons in hand, expecting chaos. But it was their fear that turned violent. They tried to control us with force, shoving women, dragging men, shouting orders, but what they didn't expect was our discipline, our power in numbers, and the fire in our eyes. The cameras were rolling. The world watched as cops threw fists, but Haitians stood tall. They tried to rip our flags from our hands, but we raised them higher. One officer slammed a teenager to the pavement. His scream was met with a roar from the crowd so loud it seemed to tear open the sky. They beat us with nightsticks, but we beat them with unity. You could see it in their eyes. They didn't expect this kind of resistance from immigrants, from nurses and bus drivers and churchgoers. But that day we reminded them, we are the descendants of revolution. We are the children of Dessalines and Catherine Flon. We are not afraid. We do not run. We do not bow. We made that bridge tremble. Not from violence, from truth, from numbers, from pride. And when the tear gas cleared and the helicopters flew away, we were still standing, shoulder to shoulder, drenched in sweat and dignity. The message was clear. You cannot silence us. You cannot shame us. We are Haitian, and we will not be erased. When the chants faded and the crowd dispersed, the media turned their cameras elsewhere. The bridges reopened. The city kept moving. But for the Haitian protesters, life didn't just return to normal. Many had risked everything to march that day. Some were undocumented and feared deportation. Others were government employees, afraid of losing their jobs. But they had marched anyway, because silence had already cost them more than fear ever could. David St. Louis returned to his job at a downtown office only to find his name scrubbed from the schedule. "We don't want activists here," his supervisor muttered. David didn't argue. He just walked out with his head high. Marie-Laure, the nurse, began organizing free health workshops in basements and church halls. She taught her community about HIV, not the myths, but the science. She used her shame and turned it into fuel. "They will not bury us in ignorance," she told the women who gathered, week after week. But the damage had already crept into Haitian homes like smoke under a locked door. Young kids who had grown up in the 80s and 90s, children like Nadine Etienne, 15 years old, born in Brooklyn, grew up ashamed of their identity. She heard classmates whisper, "AIDS girl," when she walked by. She begged her mother not to bring dairy coli to lunch because it smelled too Haitian. "I used to wish I was Jamaican," Nadine admitted years later, because no one called them diseased. Her mother, Solange, would sit in the dark and cry after work. She had come to America dreaming of a better life, only to watch her daughter wish she were someone else. "Is this the freedom we crossed the ocean for?" she whispered one night. In 1992, the FDA quietly changed the policy. Haitians could now donate blood again. The world saw them. America could no longer ignore them. The CDC quietly removed Haitians from the risk list, not because they admitted fault, but because they were forced to face the truth. But the scars remained. Businesses never recovered. Careers were destroyed. Families had been shattered by discrimination. But the Brooklyn Bridge became a symbol of resistance, of visibility, of Haitian dignity. There was no apology, no ceremony, no reparations. Just a silent update on a government website, but the Haitian community never forgot. In Flatbush, in Miami, in Boston, Haitian elders made sure the younger generation knew what happened. One day, at a high school in Brooklyn, Nadine stood before her classmates during Black History Month and told the story of her people, the story of the bridge, the lies, the pride. "My name is Nadine Etienne," she said, voice trembling but clear, "and I come from the blood you once rejected. I come from people who were blamed, shamed, and erased, but we did not vanish, we fought. We're still here." And for the first time in her life, she felt free. They never gave us an apology. They never returned the businesses they destroyed, the dignity they stripped, or the families they shamed. But they did not destroy us. We rose through music, through language, through protest, through the unwavering strength of our mothers and the quiet defiance of our fathers. And when they tried to label us diseased, we showed them what true sickness looks like: hatred, racism, silence. They wanted us to disappear. Instead, we became louder, bolder, and unbreakable. To be Haitian in America is to carry the burden of lies and the torch of truth. To be Haitian is to be blamed and still forgive. To be Haitian is to be denied and still build. To be Haitian is to be told, "You do not belong," and still march, still rise, still shout, "No la, no pas prale." We are here. We are not leaving. From the ashes of false accusations, from the bridges they tried to push us off, we rose. We are the bridge, and the world will cross through us to reach justice. Dear viewers, what you're about to hear is not a myth. It is not a rumor. It is not in your school books, but it is carved into our blood. They said we were diseased. They said our blood was dangerous. They told the world Haitians brought AIDS, so they banned us from donating blood. They didn't care if we were nurses, students, mothers, or veterans. If your passport said Haiti, your blood was dirty. But let me tell you what they didn't expect. They didn't expect 50,000 Haitians to rise like a storm over New York, to shut down the Brooklyn Bridge with nothing but our pride, our pain, and our voices. They didn't expect the heartbeat of Haiti to thunder through the concrete like an aftershock. They didn't expect descendants of revolution to carry the flags of resistance into the heart of the empire. That day, we did not beg. We did not plead. We demanded. We chanted in Creole. We lifted banners written in fire, "Being Haitian is not a crime. Our blood is clean. We are not the disease, you are." They brought police, they brought clubs, they brought fear. But we brought something stronger, the spirit of our ancestors, the rage of a people wrongly blamed, the dignity of a nation that freed itself when the world said we couldn't. They beat some of us. The cameras caught it. The world saw it. And even then, we did not fall back. Because you can't beat a people who once defeated Napoleon with bare hands and holy drums. Dear viewers, remember this. We didn't just cross the bridge. We made it tremble. We didn't just protest. We made history flinch. And when they backed down, when they quietly reversed the blood ban, they gave no apology, no justice, no repair. But we didn't need their permission. We had our power. So let this be known. We are not the virus. We are the cure for silence. We are not the shame. We are the proof that no people can be erased. No la, no pas prale. Haiti pas peri, no. Tag your family, tag your friends. Let the world know what they tried to hide. This isn't just a story. It's a warning. It's a resurrection. It's a reminder. Never doubt a Haitian with nothing to lose, because that's when we rise the highest. Years later, in schools and community centers, the story of that protest is told. Some still don't know what Haitians endured, but others remember. They remember the day black, proud immigrant voices shook the city. Marie-Laure, now older, walks with her granddaughter across that same bridge every year on April 20th. She looks at the skyline and whispers, "They tried to bury us with their lies, but we were seeds." A final message for my Haitian people. If we didn't march, we wouldn't exist if we didn't march. If we had stayed silent, if we had swallowed our pride and accepted their lies, life would have been unbearable. Not just in America, but everywhere Haitians dared to stand. They blamed us. They banned our blood. They marked us as a plague, not because of science, but because they feared our strength. And if we hadn't risen, if 50,000 of us didn't cross that bridge and tear open the sky with our truth, they would have buried us in shame. They would have made the lie permanent. But we didn't kneel. We marched. We roared. We broke the silence. We shook the bridge. That day wasn't just a protest. It was survival. It was a warning. It was a resurrection of a people they tried to erase. We stood together so our children wouldn't be afraid to say, "I'm Haitian." We marched so no other generation would be silenced, so no Haitian nurse would be called dirty, so no student would be bullied for their blood. We didn't do it for headlines. We did it so we could breathe. We did it so we could exist. So listen and listen well. If we didn't march, we would have been erased. If we didn't speak, we would have been silenced forever. Because even years later, in 2024, they were still mocking us, still spitting on our dignity, still saying, "They're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs," still trying to strip us of humanity to make us the joke of the world. But we rose. And now the world will never unsee us, never unhear us, never unlearn our truth. Haitien, sac passe, Haiti leve, no pape, no pap jam disparaître, no se défait, no se révolution, no se vérité. You can't erase what was born in fire. You can't silence what was raised in truth. We are Haitian, we are still here, and we are never backing down. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed the story. That was a true story that is etched into world history. If you liked the effort put into making the story, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more. Thank you.